Welcome to a huge video on the future of Fortnite. If you enjoy this sort of content and want to help it get out to everyone, smash that like on it, and don't forget to go and support me further with code Postboxpat in the item shop. When leaving a comment, if you want a chance of getting gifted, add in your Epic Games ID and you'll have a chance. Hey guys, it's Postboxpat. Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the future of Fortnite, the long-term future. Now, this is going to be a big video, and I recommend staying tuned throughout the entire video because we've got some really interesting topics to cover right here. Considering what is going on in the Fortnite community right now, we obviously know we've got the Game Awards coming up, and we've obviously got the Christmas events taking place as well, which will give us a bunch of free items and also give us a bunch of cool stuff to use and try out maybe some LTMs and some changes on the map and stuff like that. That's obviously in the short term, but in today's video I want to talk about the long term because there's some interesting stuff that I want to mention. Now, if you guys are new around here, smash that subscribe. Also, don't forget to go and enter in code Postboxpat. You don't have to watch the gameplay throughout today's video, so if you want to, feel free to pop into a game of Battle Royale and just leave me talking next to you on your phone or on your computer or whatever you can do. Two things at once, easy on this one. It's more like a podcast rather than an actual video. But the discussion I've got is very interesting. So Fortnite themselves have put themselves in a position now where they're on a good amount of staff at Fortnite, or Epic Games should I say, working on Fortnite. There's roughly apparently between 200 and 300 staff who just work on Fortnite alone, which is a huge amount of staff members. Now, coming from a point of view which is from the community, like me, obviously I've been following Fortnite since the very start of Save the World, so I'm a huge fan of the game, and I've seen their progress go from being Save the World to developing Battle Royale to developing creative, and now we're at a point where we've got 3 huge modes in the game and we've got room for others. So in today's video I wanted to predict what potentially new modes we could get, because actually at E3 I spoke to Donald Mustard himself and asked him a few questions on the factor of what's next to Fortnite. So they weren't exact direct questions, they were more like hinted questions. So I'd say stuff like, for example, I can't remember my exact wording, but I said stuff like, we've got creative, we've got Save the World, we've got Battle Royale, surely there's room for something else. And he just kind of like nod his head and smile, which doesn't really give any indication at all, because obviously he doesn't want to reveal anything. But it's clear that Fortnite itself wants to develop a universe within Fortnite, but just not Battle Royale. They want to expand this to other places. So there's 2 ideas which I had for this, and 2 things where Fortnite could potentially be working on something. So if we don't see something massive this Christmas, and if we don't see something massive at the Game Awards, we know they've been working on something behind the scenes. Obviously it'll be the event and stuff, but there's something else going on there. There has to be. Fortnite are definitely working on something pretty secret. So what could that secret thing be? Well, I actually have a feeling that it could be a kind of role play style game, RPG. So that would be a game like GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption. It would basically be the hit and run, you know, Simpsons Hit and Run. The Simpsons Hit and Run was basically a complete rip-off of GTA in the early days on the PlayStation 2, but anyone could gain access to it because of the young age rating on it. And I think Fortnite could go down this road pretty easily with actually doing it to Fortnite themselves, developing a kind of GTA style Fortnite in a whole free roam map where there's so many missions to do, there's different places to go to, you can get cars, you can get vehicles, planes, jets, all this sort of stuff in a match, say, where there's 50 players and a bunch of AIs. I think it'd work perfect, and it is got the potential in general. Fortnite have got that. Now, this isn't something that you can just develop tomorrow. This would take months, even years to fully develop, because there's a lot of storyline going behind it. And I do think Fortnite are working on something like this for the future, because the time that we've seen recently, I know they've taken a recent break, but we've seen Fortnite just do completely hardly anything really in the Battle Royale world. And we've obviously, I don't want to say anything because there has been things. We've had the Storm King stuff, we've had a few LTMs and stuff, but there's definitely something behind closed doors that not even all the developers will know about that they're working on. Now, it might not just be a kind of free roam game. It may be something like a mobile game or something else. Will it get implemented to the classic Fortnite game? Most likely. I don't think they'll make like a separate game for this. It'll probably be just like another accessory or add-on to the original Fortnite format. So you'd have creative, free roam, which would be this new thing I'm talking about. Then it'd have Battle Royale, and it'd also have Save the World. So that's how it would work if that was to get added in. Now, this is only complete theory. There is no evidence or anything that proves that this is getting created. This is just an idea that I've come up with. I do think it is something which they probably have looked at, but I don't know if they've considered it. We'll have to just wait and see on that. But what else could they be developing? So another thing that came to my mind as well was they'd be developing a kind of Fortnite-like Minecraft. So we have Saved the World, and that, in a sense, is similar more similar than Battle Royale to Minecraft, because obviously you harvest resources and you build your home base. However, it hasn't got that vibe to it. So if Fortnite were to create more of like kind of like a crafting type thing, where you could craft different things, you know, imagine crafting a few walls and changing them into kind of a different color brick or something like that, more like a kind of Minecraft style Fortnite, I think this would work really well. What would also work well as well if they managed to create kind of a mining mechanic in the game where you could go underground by using the squares as grids and cutting out each grid, or even kind of like shrinking each square into small squares. So for example, there'd be like, I think it'd be a total of 8 cubes inside a normal Fortnite square. You know, when you build a 1x1, you could put 8 cubes inside of there, and you could break each one of them to dig down further and further. You could kind of turn it into more of a survival type thing. Obviously, the land itself would still be a bit bumpy. It wouldn't be pixelated like Minecraft, and it wouldn't be blocky like Minecraft, but they potentially could produce a Fortnite game similar to Minecraft, but not the same, obviously, because if it was the same, it would just be getting, I think if they did something like this, they'd be, either one of them two, they'd still get a lot of people saying, why have you copied this? But generally speaking, it wouldn't be, because it would have different stuff to it. It wouldn't be like Minecraft. There'd be no Ender Dragon, there'd be no stuff like that. There'd be like more quests. There'll be a twist on it that somehow implements some sort of multiplayer thing or something that happens in game, which could be pretty different to Minecraft. I don't know what that could be, but there is room for that. Now, there is also room for a permanent zombie style game mode, because in Save the World we don't actually have that. We've seen the dungeons in Save the World. If you've not yet played the dungeons, wow, what an awesome mode it is. However, it's too easy, it can be rushed as well, but I love the aspect you have to grab keys to complete 3 stages of the dungeon and then beat the boss, and you kind of start with like standard. I love Save the World when it gives you weapons at the start and you can't craft your weapons unless you're, you know, you find weapons on the map and stuff like that, or you can craft them from resources you grab in that mission. That's what I like about Save the World. The aspect I don't like about Save the World is the standard missions. It gets too grindy. It's good at first, but it starts to become too grindy, and obviously the storm base and all that crafting side of stuff and the hero leveling up, it's just a lot of complicated stuff there. So I do think there is room for Fortnite to create like a survival mode or zombie mode. We've seen them in the past. Last Christmas we had the burner game mode. What an awesome game mode that was. I played it almost every day. I loved it so much. We also had one back in season 5. This is going way back now, guys, when Paradise Palms was first introduced. This was actually a mode where you could create your preset base, and every time you'd go into a world, you'd come up with 4 other players who'd have their preset base in, rip to all the noobs that didn't create their bases, but they would all spawn in, and you'd have these 4 bases that you could actually kind of like defend each round. It would tell you which base is under attack, and you defend it in kind of like a desert environment. I love that as well. Wasn't as good as the burner one, because you'd already kind of create your base beforehand, but with the burner one you'd have to create it there and then, and there'd be different challenges weekly to unlock a free banner. I loved it. I got so many banners from that. So many people asked me, where did I get my actual banner from with the kind of the huge monster on, and it was actually from the burner LTM on the Christmas kind of Save the World stuff. So hopefully they do something like that again this Christmas. I do love dungeons, but it's still not as good as the burner one or the base building one. So that's why I'm going to suggest that, you know, maybe Fortnite are working on some sort of zombie mode where you can actually create buildings and structures, a bit like Call of Duty Zombies, but you do it in Fortnite Battle Royale by having Easter eggs, weapon upgrades, and you allow building in certain areas to kind of defend off the zombies, traps. But obviously, the higher rounds you get, the stronger the zombies get. And I think something like this in Fortnite would be perfect, especially if they introduce classical maps as well. Not obviously Call of Duty maps, but they make maps set for this, and you just have the first map and that's it. You just have one map for like 6 months or 5 months, and then you introduce another map, and then the same again, just like Call of Duty did with zombies. I think it would work perfectly for Fortnite with 4 players, with the ability to craft different traps. And obviously you can buy traps and get them from like chests that you unlock by completing levels and stuff, and the higher rounds you get, you unlock different chests from ranking up, a bit like the battle pass, but part of your battle pass gets used in this zombie game mode. So another idea I had, and I think if Fortnite did something like that, a lot of people would like that. I know personally I would love Fortnite to introduce something like zombies, or maybe even just something similar on the line of kind of like a survival type LTM, where you just got to survive for as long as you can, and it's like a leaderboard with your friends and that. I think that's what people enjoy. So it really is one of them. Like recently, you've got to think, like, what have they been doing? They must have been developing something, unless this event is just taking so long, the one that's going to be happening either at Christmas or after Christmas, the one for the chapter 2 season 1. The event that's going to be there could be just ridiculously huge, then maybe I can see why they may be implementing this. There's one theory that I had for that event, which was regarding, because they've been taking so long with updates and stuff, they may have been working on some sort of kind of like war simulator type thing, where we just get like 100 bots and 100 bots fighting each other, and there's only like 10v10 in the game, so there'd be like 220 like moving objects or kind of playable skins all battling out from Alter and obviously EGO, so you got like a big fight between them. I think that has a potential, but obviously, speaking of like other ideas that I've said for the future, that could be the idea as well. So I don't know, we'll have to see how good the events are to kind of judge if they've been working on something else on the side. We do know that Battle Breakers was pretty big for Fortnite. I know that Donald himself was a big fan of Battle Breakers and obviously had a lot of kind of lead way with it. He was really kind of letting it go its own way, but obviously taking part in it as well. So he wasn't 100% with it, but he was definitely kind of conducting it a little bit and giving it ideas and stuff. Now, Battle Breakers compared to Fortnite is just a comparison you can't make. Battle Breakers is fun, but the graphics aren't the same as Fortnite. I think it's a little bit clunky there and then. Don't forget to use code Postboxpat in that Battle Breakers shop to support me if you are completing them boss fights as well. It's not really a shop, I guess, it's just supporting your creator, but thank you everyone who has been doing that. What do you guys think? Do you think Fortnite have definitely done something in like they've planned something for release in the future? Because I don't think they want to let their franchise die. I think Fortnite's here to stay, just like other games have in the past. They create a franchise around the name, and obviously they build and build and build from that. We've seen it with several things. For example, I know this is completely irrelevant, but you look at The Simpsons, for example. You've had The Simpsons skateboard game, The Simpsons movie game, and The Simpsons Hit and Run. I know that's a TV show, but you could say that with Pokemon. They've had various different Pokemon games that have been added into different games as well, that have been put in. So Smash Brothers has obviously had Pokemon in, and there's different games that have Pokemon in as well. So I can see how that works. Obviously, Pokemon is part of Nintendo, so it can get in them games pretty easily, but you've also got to consider the relationships which Fortnite have created. They've created relationships with DC, Marvel, Disney, so much there. Marshmallow, NBA. Wow, I could just keep going and going and going and talking about all of the relationships that Fortnite have created in this imaginary huge world, which is still there to expand. And I think if they get it right again, they'll have another huge game. So hopefully they can. I'd love to still continue to create Fortnite content for like the next 10 years or so if they keep creating these other elements and doing different stuff. And I think it has the potential. They just need the mindset to do that. I don't know if they have that mindset. From what we've experienced in the past, we know they do, because they brought out Creative this time last year around Christmas time. Remember when Lachlan accidentally leaked it, for those that remember that. So I do definitely think there is room for Fortnite to do this, but will we see something this Christmas? Obviously Christmas is the best time for it. I don't think we will though, unfortunately. I don't think we'll see anything major. I just feel like they just haven't been doing much this season, and I do think we'll only get the Christmas event and stuff to kind of keep us playing, but we need something ASAP, and hopefully we do get an announcement for it, or just a sudden release, you know, like we had with Creative. We had a little bit of an announcement, and then boom, it just came straight out, and everyone was like, whoa, look at this, how awesome is this? And there's so much came from that. We had all the creative modes and stuff. I really wanted to get involved in that, but at the time I was still in education, so I was struggling to be able to create maps, and obviously I was struggling to actually play maps as well. I don't know where Creative stands today, but I still love playing it, and you guys with the snowman contests, you have absolutely been smashing them. There are so many entries on them snowman contests. If you guys want to consider joining in on that and entering in, you can go and enter in my little snowman contest video. It's on my channel, go and check it out, and I'll tell you guys exactly how to enter. But yeah, it tells me that obviously Creative itself is still being played, but is it still played to the extent that it was? I did see so many YouTubers playing it at one stage, but it looks like it's kind of died off on the YouTube community, and stuff like death runs and stuff like that, you just don't see them anymore. They're just nowhere near as big as they used to be. I guess they've just kind of been oversaturated 100%, completely kind of just overdone, and there's just so many death runs now. But I do think there is definitely room for something else in Creative. Don't know what, I don't know how they do it, but there is a chance for Fortnite to create something for people to get in Creative and stuff. I've got a few video ideas that I've always wanted to do on Creative, which would just be awesome, which involves everybody on the channel, not just me. So if you guys would like anything like that, just put in the chat, in the comments right now, saying Creative Videos Pat, and that'll let me know. And also, that'll let me know if you've made it right to the end. So just comment down below, Creative Videos Pat, if you've made it right to the end and you want me to do them. Just let me know if you do or don't in that comment. Just say Creative Videos Pat no, or Creative Videos Pat yes. So thank you everyone that's made it right to the end. Sorry for the long video. It's worth it because it's a good discussion and something which which everyone should consider. And I've been pretty excited about making this video. It's something that's been on my mind for a while, just considering how long Fortnite took to make all this stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Smash that like, smash that subscribe, and don't forget, if you want to support me further, going into code post into the item shop to help me out and support me even further on the channel. Thank you so much everyone who has been doing that. Smash a like on the video and comment down below your opinions on all of this stuff. Feel free to re-watch it if you want. Just put it on in the background and take a little listen to my discussion. Thank you so much, and once again, this is Postboxpat signing out.